watching people work their whole entire lives and then leave with literally nothing, own nothing, pass nothing to their kids. Watching somebody work for 30 years and getting fired and then having nothing, like, and not owning shares in that company or having ownership or equity or anything like that. Something about that just didn't sit right with me. And then I started looking around and saying that at the end of the day, like, and that's why our thing is, that's why our slogan is like putting equity in the hands of the people, right? At the end of the day, you kind of saw the whole entire aspect of how much it affects people by not actually owning equity in anything, not owning anything. So many of us, a large percentage, maybe about 90% of Bahamians, get to 40 and have never owned anything.
Let's not talk about my age because I'm close to 40.
So, I mean, no, statistically.
Yeah,
right?
real talk. No, that's real.
Statistically, right? So for me, being in this environment, it's just like you hear a lot of these, you read articles or you see the news, you hear politicians and everything like that. And they say that the young people need to be able to take a lot of what we want for the future into our own hands. And for me, that's what it kind of was. It was like being able to create a product that gives people access to kind of being able to have their own entire retirement plan, have their own entire investments for their kids, being able to kind of even feel empowered and confident in general. Like if you're able to say, hey, I own 50 Tesla shares by the time I'm 30, like maybe that makes you more confident as a person to know that you are invested in something. Because I spoke to the Eugene Depuche like graduate school, like
the law school.
The law school. I spoke to their graduation one year, and the most interesting thing was like the questions that came up was, what do we invest in? And like for me, when I think about what do we invest in is, I don't know what to tell you.
One thing that I've seen in the comment thread, and I totally agree with this, and I would answer this question: you invest in what you consume.
No, but not even this. This was 3 years ago.
Oh, you mean before there was even an avenue?
Yeah, the only thing that you could invest in, you can go to Fidelity and get some ETFs. You can go to BISX, or you can go to I don't know, Central Bank and get Bahamian registered stock, right? But no, I'm not saying anything's wrong with that, right? Like one of the things that
needs to evolve. Like, I mean, on this podcast, like we keep it real and there's nothing wrong with it. It was great when they initially started it maybe 10, 20 years ago, but it needed to evolve. It needs to be reaction. It needs to be real time. Yeah. Right. And they haven't kept up.
It's 60 seconds on. And one of the things that I really noticed when I started to like dive into that, because I thought about doing like, oh, well, would it be cool to, and most of people don't actually understand. And if you want to get real, I could actually break that down for people. There's a few things that happen with Bahamian stocks. The first thing is, I mean, when you look at the order books, right, you have some dude sitting stacked up with 250,000 shares that is $10 each. I don't know where to get the pricing from for any of this stuff. It's just like
if you didn't do a proper evaluation. They just put it out there,
right?
Yeah.
You have some dude sitting in the order book at 250,000 shares trying to sell at $12. Like way above market price, trying to like this dude's trying to make money. Right. And then you have somebody to the bottom trying to buy way down. And they're all the way to the bottom. And they only buying 500 shares.
Right.
You got to eat out big dog at 250,000 shares at $10 in order to actually realistically move the market.
Right.
And that's why when you check out the order book for a lot of these shares, most of the people are buying and holding. And even the people that are trying to buy can't buy. So if you want to sell your shares, you basically got to go and lose a bunch of money in the first place if you want that right now, because it's going to take maybe a whole entire year. And the people that are selling those shares are either really wealthy people or companies. Right. So the reality behind that, and to take that further, like I said, when I thought to myself, okay, well, when you want an exchange in an environment, because I'll be honest with you, most of the knowledge that I have in the financial industry is either from advisors, mentors, or me no-lifing. I work on average 18 hours a day, just to put in perspective. So
18 hours a day.
Yeah, I went to bed, I would say, and that's why I'm like maybe a little off and like not on point. And You know what I mean?
What's off about you?
No, I mean, I feel a little off because I know I haven't ate really. And this is something that a lot of my friends really talk about, but I haven't ate. So I'm a little slow. I'm not me yet. I need to still catch up. I'm still catching up.
Okay.
But I'd
love to see when you have some food in your system, because I don't think you're off at all.
I slept maybe 4 hours last night. I was up. I was in the office this morning at 7, and I just left the office before I came here. So, but on a regular day, 18 hours. So I'm self-taught. I teach myself things. I read articles every single day. I listen to podcasts every single day. I take as much courses as I can. I read case studies. I do whatever I can to learn about finance from a wider scale. Everything from private equity, mergers, acquisitions, everything. So, one of the things that you look at when you look at our environment, there's a lot of things that factor into why we don't have, a moving stock exchange. A big part of that is, if we being honest, if let's use super value. You're super value. And why would you want people to know what you're making? Not just why would you want people to know what you're making. Why would you want to have to disclose your biggest shareholders? Why would you want to have to show your operating expenses if you don't have to? Why would you want to know? Why would you want to have to create and put out financial statements for everybody to know? Because
there's a lot of responsibility that comes along with that. Yeah.
And on top of that, why there's, and that's just why companies don't list, because we don't have taxes, right? That's why they don't list. Why companies don't necessarily list on the other side of it is, imagine you give 50,000 Bahamians access. Imagine if, say, Prosper was able to put, super value on the stock exchange, and you have 500 whales and 49,500 regular retail traders.
Yeah.
And one day everybody just woke up and decided that super value stock should be zero.
Woo!
Why?
That'll hurt. That'll be hurtful.
But why?
You would probably have a stroke.
Yeah. Why would you give the access and power and control over your company to other people when you want to be able to tell the true value of what it is? And that power of it is hard for a lot of people to give up, and that access to it too, because